a generalist, in my view, is important for modern times when we have rapid changes in technology, when we have to have a lot of adaptation to changes, and especially in the past 2 years when we have COVID, a lot of uncertainties, unpredictabilities. You don't need a specialist at this critical moment of time because you don't know what specialty you should be in. But for a generalist who has all-round education, then you will have the ability to deal with crisis, to manage change. So liberal arts education, I think, is very important. Liberal arts education is not defined by subjects. It should be more properly called liberal arts and sciences. The major features are it emphasizes very much interdisciplinary studies, but not just confined to arts or sciences. For example, in liberal arts education, we emphasize study abroad, exposure, experience, meaning someone would be able to understand the world, to know the world, and to deal with problems in a more effective way. You can develop your whole person characters with a lot of discussion, a lot of reading, a lot of writing, meaning you come up with a generalist rather than a specialist. In the old economy, basically technological changes are very major, like the invention of electricity, spinning machines, the invention of antibiotic drugs. But these changes did not happen frequently. They happen sporadically. They are major changes. But today, we don't see such sporadic and major changes, perhaps. All technological changes are continuous. We're now talking about every second. There is something new. Facing this rapidly changing technological environment, economic environment, it means you cannot just be specializing in one thing. In the past, one specialization could last even for 2 or 3 generations. But today we are talking about in one's lifetime, you change career 5, 6 times. So therefore the skills we want today in this modern economy, when changes are the only predictables, then in my view, you need ABC and 3 C's. A stands for adaptability, B stands for brain power, and C stands for creativity. These are generic skills if you call them skills. But if you talk about skills per se, then I can speak of 3 skills. One is cognitive skill. You have to know how to solve problems. And the other one is communication skills. You have to contact people. You have to be in touch with people. And the third one is community skill, which is the same as interpersonal skills. So you might need some practical skills. You might need some very generic attributes to be able to survive in this ever-changing world. We are in a technologically rich or oriented society, and therefore STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, must be important. But I think for the time being, the whole world, also in Hong Kong, we have overemphasized STEM. STEM important, but behind STEM, behind technology, we need to have human beings. We need to have smart minds. Without this, STEM won't work. STEM won't even exist. So I have been emphasizing in the past few years, don't overemphasize STEM, while STEM is important. STEM without help will become helpless. HELP, H-E-L-P, stands for history, ethics, literature, and philosophy. Meaning we need not only STEM, but you need some other arts and humanities subjects to help our young people to be creative, to have critical thinking, to be able to think of problems before solving problems. Don't specialize too early and too soon. One should try to maximize one's exposure and experience when they are young. But after your graduation, you start to work, then lifelong education, continuing education will be very important because the world is changing, specialties are changing, your careers are changing. One has to continue to learn. But my view is not only you have to continue to learn in a more formal way, in an institution or follow a program. Continuing education implies also a self-taught, self-learned education, for the lifetime. One also should look at the world, in a more, open-minded, or in a more close manner. You have to closely monitor what's going on in the world, because now everything is affected by international relations, by geopolitics, by geoeconomics. I'm very fond of the subject history. My view is young people try to understand the forces of change and try to understand the forces of continuity at any moment of time in history. In this globalized world, not only you should receive training locally, but it's equally important you look a bit, far outside of your place, of living. You should go abroad, not because other places provide better training, but because when you go elsewhere, you get better exposure, you get better interactions, you get better experience.